Hello and welcome up to Catching Up to FI live at Podcast Movement. Becky and I have come to our first podcast conference, and it's like drinking water from a fire hose. There's lots of different content on marketing, monetization, culture, how do you grow your audience. What have you been learning at this podcast conference, Becky?
Oh my goodness. One of the things that's really been interesting to me and that we have talked about for the future of Catching Up to FI is adding video. So Bill and I are trying to learn how to add the video component to the podcast so that folks can choose whether they listen on their favorite podcast player or they want to go to YouTube and actually watch the podcast as we've recorded it. So that's one thing that I've really enjoyed learning about here.
Yeah, we're thinking also about live streaming. For those of you who are avid listeners or watchers, there may be an unedited, uncut version of the show that you can see the guests that we're talking to. If you'd like to see that, let us know in the comments on the Facebook group. Okay, and Becky is also getting into video because she's got this Becky Minute thing going on, and we posted our first one live to Facebook the other day. We hope you like it. If you do, comment on it because Becky has a lot to say, and she likes to do it in little quips and clips of video.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to work on doing little 5-minute videos that I post to the community, just with one topic, just for 5 minutes, a short little thing that you can listen to anytime. And the other interesting thing is I am so technology challenged. Bill has taught me how to do a reel on Facebook, and he taught me how to do live on Facebook. And if anybody was watching, yes, the very first Facebook Live we did, my camera was pointed at the carpet. but we figured it out before we ended it.
Well, not only are we catching up to FI together, we're learning together. We love doing what we do. We're also hanging out with great people here at Podcast Movement. Heck, we hung out with Paula Pant. We hung out with Joe Salsihai. We hung out with one of our guests, Sean Mullaney. We've met other podcasters and learned from them. It's really, just like our community, the best thing about these conferences is taking your virtual relationships live.
Absolutely. It was so much fun. We had dinner last night with all these people that Bill just mentioned. We've met Wendy from our community, a big contributor to our Facebook group. She's here. There's other folks that we've met. And, I wanted to mention the group that we met the very first night that we were here. Someone put together a meetup for podcasters over 50. And it was so interesting to hear the different platforms and the different topics that these podcasters are talking about. For me personally, Stephen and I have kind of turned into a financial independence event junkie. We go to everything FI, but this event these people aren't necessarily talking about money, they're talking about everything. So we met someone who talks about dating after 50. That was interesting.
Internet dating, like swipe right.
Right. There was a lady that was in our group that talks about your relationship with your adult children.
Yep.
Her podcast is called Bite Your Tongue. So I can't wait to hear more about that. And that's one thing that I really love about this group that we met is we're going to share each other's content, and we will probably have some of these folks as guests on our podcast because even if it's not strictly about money, we all have challenges with our more mature years and the different seasons of life that we are in compared to some of the other folks that are podcasting.
Yeah, there are podcasters out there that are just like us. We also talked to somebody that has a podcast called Hey Boomer, and she takes on all topics for boomers. And we do look forward to probably having some of these people on the show because their messages are synonymous with our messages. And although we focus largely on financial, one of our purposes here is to talk about life.
Absolutely.
Life in the late starter population.
Right. Because our relationships, our health, our emotional well-being. I mean, that's all wrapped up together, even with our money.
Well, yeah, there's many forms of capital, right, Becky?
That's right.
Financial capital is just one of them. There was a great talk at Economy years ago by Lynn Frair that you can look at on the Economy website because she has the videos up there. And she talked about social capital, emotional capital, spiritual capital, financial capital, and other capitals.
Right.
Capital.
That's right. Yes, it's all part of our life, and you can't really carve off one little piece. And there may be times when we need to address one piece and we focus on that, but it's all part of who we are. And each one of us approaches those types of capital differently. They look different for each one of us. So, again, that goes back to the stories that we love hearing people's stories, because everybody's a little bit different on how they do things.
Well, as Brad Barrett says, stories make the world go round, and we hope the stories we're telling on our show help your world go around. And actually, we should mention tonight is the very first Catching Up to FI meetup.
I am so excited. We are here in Denver, and by the time we publish this, it will have already happened. But I'm hoping that everybody who lives in the Denver and Colorado Springs area comes out to meet us tonight. I'm just really pumped about our first ever meetup, hoping that there will be more to come. I know that I'm going to be publishing probably on the Facebook group of where I'm going to be in the future. In fact, in September, I'm going to be in Philadelphia, and in August, and I think I can make time for this in the things I already have planned, but in August I'm going to be in Minnesota. Then next January I'm going to be in Texas.
Yeah, you travel everywhere. You're living your best life in retirement, and I'm still in my day job. I do this on the side. It's my part-time passion, and I can barely keep up with all that I do now because this does take a lot of work. But it's a work of joy. It's a work of passion.
Yeah. Well, but and Bill and I don't live in the same place. You are in Knoxville, Tennessee, so you may need a Knoxville meetup.
Well, this is the only time. This is the second time we've ever really met and hung out, and it's great to get to know Becky better. I always learn more about her story. Oh, but before I forget, tonight at the meetup, we get to hang out again with Paula Pant, Joe Salsihai, and other folks that are just. It's hard to really wrap our heads around that we are associated with them. We're in their tribe now.
That's right.
I never thought we would do a podcast.
All these people that we've listened to for years, now we actually get to sit down at the same table with them. I mean, how awesome is that?
I mean, I was a avid consumer of content for the longest time. I was in analysis paralysis. I had major imposter syndrome. I still do. I get nervous before every episode. We've been fortunate to have really awesome guests on the show.
Oh my
By
goodness.
the time you've listened to this, you will have found out who our super secret mystery guest is. Right, Becky?
That's right. He will have already published. So we hope that you enjoyed that one. That was a little different for me.
Well, we really hope you enjoy the show. We enjoy putting it out there for you. You're our family. You are our why. And we just want to hear back from you. We just want to keep the engagement up. Our Facebook group has grown by leaps and bounds. People are so vulnerable. We love seeing your pictures. We love seeing your stories. We look forward to seeing you in our shirts in your introduction. That would be awesome too.
Yes.
Becky's wearing one today that she bought off the website.
That's right. I have my Catching Up to FI shirt on, so everybody here can see it. I just love what's going on with the Facebook group, and we want you to go on the website on SpeakPipe, leave us a comment, leave us a suggestion, leave us a question. We would love to have some questions from our audience that we can actually answer on air. Isn't that right?
We have an exciting thing coming up too. We got to give a shout out to Mindy Jensen, right?
Yes.
She has a show on Fridays where she does anonymous case studies, and she wants to reach out to our audience for people who are interested in sharing their numbers and sort of doing an audit of where they're at, where they're going to go. She wants to hear from our audience, and we're going to do a Facebook Live with her and let her put it out there. And just like with Amy Caroso, who was overwhelmed by the love that she felt from women that she wants to help with their finances.
It's so great. It's so great. And all of this is so that we can just make life better for all of us. I mean, we're all learning at the same time.
Well, I learn so much every time from our guests. It's an honor to work with them. They are so generous. We've been so fortunate to have such great guests on the show.
Absolutely.
You'll be hearing again now from Alan Roth. You've heard from J.L. Collins. He knocked it out of the park. Actually, we're going to probably be able to have Joe Salcihai and Paula Pant on the show. It's really incredible, the people we are in creating the community before launching the podcast. We have received so much support from within the community that want to help us get our message out to you.
That's right. That's right. And you know, like we said before, we've listened to these people for years, and we had a chance to meet them now. And you know what? They're just regular people. They are so nice. They are so generous with their talents and their time. And, you know, they are totally willing to just sit down and shoot the breeze with you. It's so nice.
Yeah, and to have Catching Up to FI on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and see that we've created something that's going to live there forever, and exercising our creative elbow. It's a way to transition into retirement. It gives us a purpose. It gives us a why. It isn't just my day job. My identity isn't wrapped up in that. My identity now isn't wrapped up in helping our audience. And it's just fun to exercise your right brain and not just live in your left brain.
That's right. That's right. And this is all for you guys. I mean, we're doing this because we just want, you know, y'all to listen to that. I threw a y'all out there, didn't I?
Yeah, well, you're from Houston, right?
That's right. So we want you to live your best life. And if we are a small part of that, then that just warms our heart.
Well, Becky, you know, one of the reasons she started a blog and she wanted to help one person, you know, and we've been fortunate to help more than one person now. We've seen you take actionable steps moving forward. We'd love to hear, you know, what are your goals this week? What have you accomplished this week? How have you increased your talent stack? Share, you know, on Wednesdays, it's the self-promo Wednesday. Put out what you're doing. It's not about us. It's about you and sharing information for everybody to learn from.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, Bill, I wanted to mention, you were talking about the folks that we've rubbed elbows with here at Podcast Movement and the things that will be coming up. We actually had a chance to talk to Sean Mullaney last night, who has been on the podcast, and I don't have his episode number off the top of my head. I apologize for that.
It was Life and Taxes.
Yes. And so we spoke with him last night, and he's going to be coming on again soon, near the end of the calendar year, to talk to us about tax planning for 2022 and tax planning for 2023. So I think that's going to be a great episode. That's going to be very helpful.
We have some exciting things coming up. Jillian Johnsrud and many retirements. And we have already 5 or 6 episodes in the can that are scheduled to come out for you on all these great topics. And send us the topics you want to hear about.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Either email us through the contact page on the website or the speak pipe, because we would really love to hear your voice. We want to hear your messages.
Yeah, info at catchinguptofire.com.
We want to hear what you want to hear about. You tell us, you know, what topics are going to be important for you, and we'll search that out.
Yeah, well, it's been really fun being here at Catching Up to FI. It's going to be fun coming live. Maybe I'll try and publish this today, just to be fun about it.
Well, we could. Totally raw and unedited.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The way I like it. Less work for me.
That's right.
All right.
Oh, I love it.
We're going to sign off from Podcast Movement, and we're going to record another episode in a little bit, right?
We are. In about 2 hours, we're doing another one.
We don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but it's going to happen.
That's right. We might edit that one.
It won't be as noisy, but we hope you've enjoyed this live recorded.
That's right. Our pop-up podcast. Our little pop-up podcast.
We're doing this, Becky.
We're actually sitting out in the middle of the vendor area, which is why you can hear the background noise. The the episode we're going to record in a couple of hours, we're going to actually be in a professional booth. So we're going to sound awesome.
Well, these microphones are pretty cool. We have, the $60 microphone from Amazon, and we're sitting here with Heil microphones and a real professional setup like a studio. It's a little intimidating.
And we should give a shout out to FinCon. We're at the FinCon booth.
Absolutely.
That's where we are recording. PT from FinCon is here. He's been helping us out. So a great shout out to the folks at FinCon.
Yeah, the FinCon Conference 2023 is in October. It's not only for content creators, it is for people, and I wasn't a creator when I first went. You get to go and learn a lot about financial literacy, and then as well as meet your heroes and see what they have to say about what they do. I went to a show on what Paula Pant does in the background of creating a podcast, and now I know what it is, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, you got to read a book. You got to make an outline and a script. You got to set up the recording, and that takes a couple hours. Then you got to do the 2 or 3 hours of post-production on an hour show. And we have been running a little long, but we're happy that you stay there with us till the end.
That's right. There's always good stuff all the way to the very end.
Yep. Stay to the end, and maybe we'll throw out some surprises for you at the end, too.
That's right.
All right. Becky?
We've had fun.
We have had great fun, and we'll talk to you in a couple hours.
That's right.